So there's this spirit, right? And the pieces of a broken staff that I got during last mission, and he's agreed to rebuild it for me as long as I can survive 10 grueling rounds with some of the baddest, toughest, ugliest, meanest mother snakers on the planet. That's all I gotta do? Well, bring it on. My Xorn mission has brought me to the crypt basement, because 95% of my time in Gloomhaven has been nothing but crypts and basements, so why not? But this one is special. At the beginning of even-numbered rounds, one of the side chambers will fling open, unleashing more deadly enemies at me, so I gotta hold on for dear life. And because who doesn't like a challenge, I have 3 curses as a scenario effect, and my road card starts both my characters off with 4 damage. At least the city event gave us each a blessing. Speaking of blessings, Nan's perk to avoid the scenario effects has paid dividends as she looks at Diego's curse-stacked pile. I decide that of the 4 enemies in the starting chamber, priority is the living spirit. The ooze is bad since it can self-replicate, but when I flip the cards, he ain't doing much of anything, so I use Diego's rad hook and chain card to pull the spirit close and chop it to bits. Then Nan gets some shots off as the bones and serpent crowd. And of course, doors open and I decide to back Nan and Diego into a corner. She's able to pull the bones into a trap, poisoning and immobilizing him while I lure the enemies towards me. The mission isn't about conquest, so I'm not looking to kill things, just keep them occupied. As soon as the next door behind us opens, we bolt across to the now relatively empty hallway. The barrier and the trap in that room force grounded enemies to detour around, taking the long route so I can funnel them in. A plan comes to mind as I desperately take care of the oozes. Speaking of which, they multiply, which is kinda cool that one kills itself, but in the other hallway several more appear. Might be a problem. Anyway, as the next door opens, I have Nan long rest while Diego stands guard for a moment, allowing Nan to tighten her sneakers, and they both jump over the poison trap, now between us and the enemies, forcing them to come around the other direction once again. And ooze is going to ooze, splitting again. Cool. As the last door opens at the beginning of the 8th round, I'm feeling pretty confident. My characters have most of their cards and can likely stay pretty far ahead, at least for 3 rounds, but there's a treasure in that final room. And like I'm going to let that slide, but there's going to be a wall of ooze, bones, and other uglies on my way, so Diego takes a stand at the door while Nan long rests again. I'm going to need them boots. As the snakes come in, Diego does his hammer dance, stomping one and disabling the other, making room for Nan to bust out a mega movement and then go invisible. The oozes ooze it up and creep closer, even killing many of themselves and replicating more in the process. I play my slowest cards for Nan, which ridiculously ain't even in the 40s, and use her boots to jump over the dudes in the doorway who didn't hit her because the invisibility hadn't faded, making a final lunge at the chest, claiming a rando design for the shop, and it's a dampening ring. Oh, okay. Maybe that'll be useful in some elemental battle. Anyway, the enemies finish out their round, which closes out the mission. The spirit says, "Ta-da!" zapping away the remaining enemies and presents me with the remade staff, which actually turns out to be a pretty boss 2-handed item, but is also the key to the next mission in some ice caves, conveniently coming up next episode. MVPs, sick jumps, and oozes for replicating far, far away.